shows a severe lack of imagination. Great aphorism, Glenn.
Generally, I find when people use violence, it just shows that they've let their words fail them or haven't stopped long enough to let their brains engage and think of a better way of dealing with a situation. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's a Thursday morning. Hope you're going to have an amazing rest of your day and an even better weekend. This is episode 316 of SMG Viewers Comments, my weekly show where I try and answer your comments and questions the best I can. So if you like to know something about recording, mixing, being in a band, just dealing with general bullshit, whatever, if it's cool and I think it can benefit the other viewers, I'll be more than happy to put it on the show. Let's hit it.
So if Nirvana released Nevermind Perfectly Polished, cut to the grid with preset sounds, would it not become an iconic rock album?
No, it wouldn't. That's the whole fucking point. Is this not getting through to you guys? When you take the music and put it on rails and then, cookie cutter it and take everything out that made the band and the sounds unique, no, it won't become iconic. It'll be just the same as everything else. And when everything sounds the same, nothing is special. They said something very similar to that in the movie The Incredibles. When everybody's special, no one is. There's a great story about another band that came out right around that same time. One of my favorite bands, and that was Caius. Go put on the record Blues for the Red Sun. That's absolutely mind-blowing. It's amazing. Same with Welcome to Sky Valley. That was the sound of the band doing the whole record in one night, just hitting record and fucking going for it. And they got this amazing vibe going on. Did they sample, replace, and timeline everything? Of course they did. I think they said this in that Dave Grohl documentary that came out a couple years ago on HBO, and they were talking about the whole desert sound and Caius and whatnot. And the producer said to himself, whatever I'm going to do here, I'm not going to ruin Caius. Because Caius had something very, very unique. And if they had taken that band and given them the modern production techniques, we wouldn't have got those amazing records. You can apply the same logic to Nirvana, is that you take it and start making it perfect and making it better, you're going to lose what makes things unique. And then music goes from something inspirational to fucking paint by numbers. This is the point I've been trying to get across this whole fucking time. We are trying to make art. And by definition, art shouldn't be perfect. But what about math rock? Shut the fuck up!
I've had two Focusrite Scarlett solos, and both of them fried themselves out over the course of 4 months. Do I just give up on those and go back to the old Workhorse Digidesign M-Box 2 Mini? I still have that works, or am I just super unlucky and maybe should try another Scarlett interface? I keep hearing about how great they are.
Okay, I haven't tried the Scarlett Solo, especially not working with it, day in, day out, that kind of thing. I've got a 2i2 I pull out every now and then, and it works pretty great. Sometimes I need it in the field, and I've never had an issue. Maybe you did just get unlucky. Here's the thing, is your unit still under warranty? That's my big question to you. If it is, just get a fucking replacement. And if you fried two and you're out of a warranty, then that fucking sucks and serves as a cautionary tale. Of course, I'm just taking your word for all of this. Maybe your shit does work great and you're just trying to stir shit up on my Discord. I don't know. It's not like that hasn't happened before. Point being is, though, like everything, if you're going to spend money on it, make sure it's covered under a warranty, either the store warranty or the manufacturer's warranty. Yeah, if your M-Box 2 is still working, great. You know what? That's fantastic. And I don't know, man. You got to ask yourself the other question. Did the Scarlett sound better? That's the big unknown to me at this point. I really couldn't tell you either way. I will tell you this, though. I did a shootout of 5 different interfaces that were all under like $200. And, the Focusrite stuff was really great, but Audient had some really great stuff. And so did Behringer, believe it or not. That one shocked me. It was actually really fucking excellent.
When is this tone ever acceptable? I would really like to know how you mix a tone like this in a track. There's so much loose low end.
Okay, this kind of goes back on my first point about don't ruin the bin. When is this tone ever acceptable? Are you fucking serious? Acceptable? Is that what we're looking for in metal now? Isn't something out of control and awesome? We want something acceptable? Oh, it's acceptable. Oh, get the fuck over yourself, seriously. This is the tone in question, and this was the kind of mix I got out of it. Here's something a lot of you guys have missed, and maybe I need to make this video, is that when I create a guitar tone, I'm creating a tone for it to work in the context of a mix, not just by itself. And they're two very different things. That tone works great in a mix as exhibited by that mix. When is this tone ever acceptable? Seriously, fuck off with that shit.
Dude, that jam session at the end there sounded fucking awesome. Who knew that a YT channel dedicated to mixing heavy music could sound so fucking good? Sounded stellar through my setup. Greetings from Oz and New Zealand.
Hey, Peter Moore, thank you so much. Obviously, you're referencing the Guardian of the Worm demo, the other guy who said, when is that tone ever acceptable? I'm glad somebody got it. I don't know. Maybe you actually listened to it on an actual speakers instead of your cell phone speakers or something like that. That can make a little bit of a difference. Guys, I always recommend listening to shit, especially when you're trying to evaluate music gear through actual fucking speakers. It just fucking helps.
Not to pry, but I was wondering if we can get a diet update. How challenging has it been keeping the weight off?
Oh, so glad you asked. You know what? I'm not going to do Butthurt of the Week this week. I thought I'd rather do something kind of positive for a change. So yes, let's talk about the diet I've been on for the last couple of years. I think it actually has been right around 2 years. I remember what happened was I threw my back out at Heavy Montreal, and I was in a lot of pain for quite a while. And that was summer of 2019. And I said, okay, it's time to make a change. And that's what I did. I went on keto. I dropped something like 60 pounds and I've managed to keep it off. I really haven't lost any more weight since last summer, but maintaining the diet, maintaining the weight's been fairly simple. I can still fit into size 38 jeans, something I've never been able to do since my 20s. So I'm really happy about that. If you're considering it, just do your homework, see if it'll work for you. Like I said, I've been able to stick to it, but I'm also going to Germany this Sunday to go to 42 Gear Street to hang out with Henning and 60 Cycle Hum and Trey and Alex, and just Paul Davids I think is going to be there, Adam Steele, John Brown. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of other guitar YouTubers, and it's going to be a good time. But I've already accepted the fact that there's just absolutely no way I can go to Germany and stay on keto. It's like, you ask for keto options there, it's like, what? You want what? No bread, that kind of shit. That's my horrible German accent, by the way. The great thing is the Germans don't stuff everything full of sugar like they do in North America. So besides, it's really not that difficult to jump back onto keto once you've been doing it for a couple of years. I mean, it's really not too tough. Giving up pasta sucked, but other than that, it's been a pretty damn good diet. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit this fall, but I'm definitely not going back to eating cereal or ice cream before bed every night. That is a recipe to get yourself fat. I definitely recommend don't doing that. Anyway, thanks again for asking.
Hi Glenn, have you ever been in a project where you hated the result but the band loved it?
That happens more often than you'd think. I mean, I've definitely worked with some hardcore punk bands who wanted, kind of a shitty ass guitar. Oh yeah, that sounds more hardcore. I'm like, really? You want that? Okay, you know what? That sort of thing. I remember, doing a hip hop project once and not really liking that either. The band loved it. It happens quite a bit, but that's the thing about being an engineer / producer. You got to keep your big fucking mouth shut and make the client happy. That's the thing. You serve at their pleasure. They are the ones paying you, so sometimes you just got to bite your tongue and fucking get on with it and get the job done. Nobody ever said it was easy.
Did you watch the documentary film about Woodstock 99 on HBO Max?
Actually, I watched it based on this question. I thought, okay, maybe there's something worth checking out. And yeah, it was a fantastic film. I'm so glad I wasn't at that concert. Crom's fucking balls. What a nightmare. It was Lord of the Flies. Woodstock was supposed to be about peace and love. And this was about shitty nu metal bands and casual sexual assault. Oh, God, it just... And then they burned everything. I mean, like, if you have HBO Max, I'd highly recommend watching this film. It's quite an eye-opener, that's for sure. I'm just so happy I didn't get to go to that show. And I'm much happier going to stuff like Heavy Montreal and 70,000 Tons of Metal. I had an amazing time at that. I've got a lot of footage from that, and I am going to be doing some stuff for them in the near future whenever the next 70,000 Tons is announced, because I want to show you guys all the footage we did. I mean, like, we did that cruise and then COVID happened, and I thought, okay, I don't want to drag their name through the mud with all this shit going on with the cruise ships right now. So out of respect for those guys, I'm hanging on to my footage until things get a little bit more back to normal. Suffice it to say, though, 70,000 Tons was an absolutely amazing time. I remember I had an absolute blast watching Epica and Devin Townsend do his thing. He was fucking just absolutely great as well. What an amazing performer, really. There was Venom played and Michael Schenker. There was stuff for us old guys there too. So that was really cool. But the crowd on the boat there was really amazing too. It was kind of like a complete and polar opposite of what Woodstock 99 was, that's for sure. Definitely a kind of a almost sense of community there. Just found everybody was pretty chill. Everybody was pretty easy to get along with. And yeah, if you've never seen a heavy metal conga line, that's really something to behold, that's for sure.
I just lost all interest in Pearl products now that they have publicly made it clear they support Fowl Mouthed channels.
Oh man, don't you just love it when the self-righteous are so outraged they can't even get their spelling right? Fowl mouthed? You mean as in turkeys, chickens, and pheasants? Dude, slow down for a sec. Think for a minute. Think about what you're typing and what you're trying to convey to the rest of the world. That way, you don't look stupid.
Hi Glenn, congrats on your new kit. Question, I'm a bit confused with the SMG samples. I understand the velocity layers, but what are these round robins layers?
Okay, to put it as simply as possible, what round robins are multiple hits at the same velocity, so things don't wind up sounding the same. It doesn't sound like the same snare sample going off all the time, that kind of thing. So if you're at the same velocity you've programmed or whatnot, or the drummer you're trying to sample, replace, or augment is hitting at the same relative velocity, it's not going to keep playing that same sample, so it's going to sound very much less machine-like. It's definitely not a one-shot. It's a little bit more random sounding because, you know, you get different positions you hit in, that kind of thing. And just those slight differences really do go a very long way. It's nothing to get too confused over. It's pretty simple. It works with the Slate TCI files we created. So yeah, check them out. If you guys are interested, by the way, you can check those samples out over at the Spectre digital store. Maybe we can even set up a little discount for it this weekend. I'm gonna double check with the guys, make sure that's cool, but hey, what the hell. Follow the link in the description below and you just might get 10 or 20% off on those. Speaking of this, at the same time of shooting this, I got to still shoot my follow-up video where I introduced the SMG Ironic drums and just showed how well they work with a real kit, and if anybody could really tell the difference or not, and most people couldn't, which was actually pretty cool. I'm also going to show what happens when you use them on a not so great drum recording as well, just to kind of augment things and give them a little bit more spice. It's definitely something you guys are going to watch. Hopefully that video is going to be out by the time this video airs. I'm kind of doing a whole bunch of episodes ahead of time, so I can take a couple weeks off in August and go to Europe and just basically take a vacation because I haven't had one in years.
Before this, I thought unboxing videos were dumb. Now I understand.
Dude, when I first started this show out, I thought unboxing videos were done. I told myself for about a year, I'm never going to do one of those. And, well, you know what? People enjoy them. It's kind of fun. You know, you get to see what stuff looks like brand new and whatnot. But unboxing videos are important so you can see what you're getting for your money, how well the stuff is protected when it's shipped to you, that kind of thing. So unboxings are kind of important, not only to check the gear out, but to check what kind of condition it's going to show up in. And, you know, sometimes that's not always the case. You're kind of rolling the dice. And for the longest time, we didn't actually have that. You just kind of, you know, put your credit card in and hope for the best. Now we've got real tangible proof on how things show up. And I got to say, Sweetwater does an amazing job when it comes to shipping. So hats off to those guys.
Pearl is soulless, in my humble opinion.
Magnificent observation. I'm just kind of curious. How does one exactly test for soul? Is there a white paper on that I can look up somewhere?
Pearl? I'm a bit surprised. Not that Pearl isn't good or anything. I would just assume a drone aficionado like you would go for something more exclusive if you were to place your trusty old DW kit. Maybe a Sonar SQ2 or something along those lines, but looking forward to hearing your new kit. Rock on.
Well, to be completely honest here, I proposed the idea to Sweetwater and they're like, hey, go pick something out and we'll make it happen. It just has to be in stock. The problem with getting stuff in 2021 is a lot of things are out of stock. It's not just video cards. I mean, like musical instruments, sometimes you have a very hard time finding anything in stock. I'm sure if you've been shopping online in the last year at all, you guys know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. I mean, like we finished the pre-order for the Cockblocker just before the pandemic hit, and then we had a hard time getting parts so we could get things sent to people. So believe me, I've dealt with it on both ends as a consumer and as a gear vendor as well. So it was very, very tough for us. Sonar was definitely on the ticket, and so was Yamaha and Tama, and we looked at a bunch of different kits. And the thing was, I did the smart thing this time. I asked a drummer, what do you think? And he came up with a couple of suggestions, and, you know, just checked out some YouTube demos and whatnot. And, you know, we wound up going with Pearl, and I let Pearl know what's up, and they're on board with this. They're really happy to be involved with it and whatnot. And I got to thank Mr. Bruno Valverde from the band Angra, who's also a Pearl player, for introducing me to the guys at Pearl. I really do appreciate that. Bruno's an absolute fucking monster drummer, and I got to do a couple things with him last year when I was in Hollywood, and Wow, what a dream to work with him. You know, he brought in his pearl snare, and that sounded pretty freaking amazing. I gotta say that. So yeah, really excited to be working with this brand, and very excited to be doing a new series on recording drums. It's just kind of going to be an update to what I did back in 2015, and you know, I've learned a few techniques along the way doing the show day in, day out, that kind of thing, and I want to pass along what I've learned. I think it should be really cool for everybody involved. Make sure you're subscribed for that so you get notified when those videos come out.
How did you decide between single bass drum or a double bass?
Well, truthfully, I mean, like, I've had a double bass DW kit for ages, and I've used the second bass drum on exactly 2 projects. I mean, most guys are fine with a double pedal, and, you know, when you run 2 bass drums, I mean, like, you have to double your channels. You need 2 of the same mics, 2 of the same high-end preamps, and then you got to get the drums tuned reasonably the same. A lot of guys will waste a lot of time trying to get them to sound exactly the same, and that kind of misses the point. You want a little bit of variation with the 2 bass drums. I mean, like, seriously though, for the most part, for what I'm doing here, most guys are absolutely fine with a single bass drum and a double kick pedal. Unless you're playing like total fucking warp speed death metal like James Payne. I did a video with him last year that still needs to come out. It's a little overdue. And you're doing, you know, like, you know, Jedi level double bass drumming, something like that. 2 bass drums is just kind of pointless in my opinion. You can do so much with just a single kick drum. And it's way cheaper.
Hey Glenn, are there any books on music, studios, recording engineers, people we should know about that you'd recommend? I work in a factory and have downtime to read on my line, and I'm looking for some new inspiration ideas to motivate me musically when I get home. Any thoughts? Cheers from Massachusetts, Kevin.
Hey dude, I know what that's all about. I definitely, when I was at Chrysler, I'd bring in, you know, Mix Magazine or EQ or whatever and just read everything I could get my hands on the subject of recording. And I did that for nearly 30 years. And so what I'd recommend is Ermin Hamidovic's got a book on mixing. I definitely recommend checking that out. There's Sound Studio Construction on a Budget. I think that was F. Alton Everest who did that book. And Bobby Ozinski did the Mix Engineer's Handbook. That's one to look at as well. You can also get my free book, Acoustic Drums for Metal, a guide. That's like a free download thing you can check out, and that's available to everybody. That was just basically a re-edit of my threads that I did on the Andy Sneap forum back in like 2005, 2006 that did really, really well. And I just kind of refined it and bumped it up a little bit. And it can really help you get your head around the whole idea of working with acoustic drum. The other thing I'd recommend is if you can, I don't know how it is for you guys, but I used to be able to bring an iPod in. I'd listen to a lot of audiobooks as well. And you might want to try getting into some of that. Maybe you can glean some great information on there. Check out audible.com. This is not a paid endorsement, by the way. It's just I'm subscribed to it and it's absolutely phenomenal. Even if you want to get some background on some rock stories and whatnot, I just went through the Rob Halford book. And I read it, it was good, but I listened to the audiobook and it was amazing. Rob Halford is such a great narrator. The Paul Stanley book is also outstanding as well.
Why the hell is Sweetwater so low on inventory though?
Jesus, I fucking just said it's 2021 and getting inventory for anything is really difficult. I mean, like, have you tried buying a video card lately? Yeah, good fucking luck. Jesus.
Hello, Glenn. I've been trying to use a MIDI keyboard for programming drums since I'm a terrible drummer and I can't afford an E-kit. Mainly because I have the same feeling this is going to sound more natural than a most program, though not as perfect as a real drummer than an E-kit for drums for that matter. But the thing is, I'm not able to make it sound natural as if it were a real drum. What should I do? Is it better for a mouse program, everything with snap to the grid disabled to fiddle the velocity? Do you know of a better technique for achieving what I'm trying to get here? Cheers and fuck you from Argentina.
For that, my friend, I would definitely recommend Henning Pauly's Complete Guide to Drum Programming. I'll have a link for that in the description below because Henning goes through all that shit and shows you how to program drums and make them sound more natural. It is worth its weight in gold. Go grab it now. It's going to clear up a lot of your questions.
Well, fuck. Why couldn't I have seen this in 2007? At least I have a job in the industry so I can pay the outrageous $1,300 a month that I've been paying for 12 years now and still owe a shit ton because of interest.
Of course, you're referencing the thing I did a few weeks back about getting your recording school diploma. Dude, I'm glad you got a job in the industry, but seriously, $1,300 a month to pay that shit back? Are you fucking kidding me? Seriously, if you guys want to learn about recording and shit, first and foremost, nobody gives a fuck about your diploma. And secondly, there's much cheaper ways to do it, like head on over to the Spectre Digital page and check out some of our awesome courses, like the aforementioned Henning Pauly drum programming course. It's freaking amazing. And the best thing is, 20 years later, you won't be still paying off your student loan. And you're going to learn more. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, all that kind of cool stuff. If you've got a comment, you got a question, you've got something burning in your mind you want answered, or you just want to sound off and wind up on Butthurt of the Week, leave a comment below, and if it's cool, I'll try and put it on the show. All right, show's over. Go do some work, you lazy fucks.